very quickly then, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to just move on to the final area. We have a number of postgraduate diplomas for very senior people. And what we mean by that is normally people who've been working for at least 10 years of experience, or people who've done the diploma and have had 3 years of experience can often progress through. Now, there are two specific areas here to look at. One is the professional postgraduate diploma in governance, risk and compliance. That's been running for about 3 years now, and this year, for the first time, we'll be doing the first professional postgraduate diploma in financial crime compliance. Now, the important things about this is the elite qualification of the ICA. This is what is called a level 7 qualification. It means that it's postgraduate level and can form part of a master's program. So, for example, if you take one of these programs here, you can go to a number of universities and get what is called a APL, Approved Prior Learning, and you can top up that diploma that you've done here into an MSc or a master's program. So the thing about these, though, is that it's designed for senior people. It's very user-friendly in the sense, of course, it takes a year. What we do here is we give access to all the other manuals on the program, on all of the various diplomas that you've been hearing about earlier. So you've got access to all of those as part of the platform. In addition to that, though, the way this one's taught is that it's 2 long weekends at the University of Oxford. So you come in Friday afternoon, and you'll do 1 Friday evening, 2 on Saturday, and 1 on Sunday. And then you do that 2 of those long weekends at 6 months apart. In between time, there's a lot of, in fact, integration work, a lot of doing your own study. There's pieces of work that have got to be handed in. But it seems to suit people who are in very senior management positions who don't have a huge amount of time in order to progress their career. The most telling statistic on this about how important this program is, and I was absolutely staggered about this, we must have put, I think something like 200 people have been on the first 3 or 4 intakes of this course. More than 50% of people who've been on this course have changed their job in that year while they were on this course. 50%, and every single one of them upwards. I think that gives you an indication. Terrific networking opportunity. People are coming in from all over the world, different types of organization. But I think that is an absolutely staggering statistic in terms of what a program of like this can do. Not just the program itself, but it then enhances what you're doing and the range of opportunities that it opens up for you. So comprehensive materials, as I say, all the manuals are online. You get terrific amount of help. There's a great camaraderie on this program. I think there's no question about that. I'm not going to go through these because the reality is those are the 10 masterclass topics. Each of those 10 topic areas has a 3-hour masterclass. 2 of them are online. The first one, standards research and assessment, and the assessment presentation. So the top and bottom we do online by way of preparation. And then the other 8 are the 8 3-hour masterclasses. As Jonathan adverted to earlier, they're delivered by leading specialists from around the world. They come in and deliver the 3-hour session. Now, the other unique aspect of this, I'll just go through those in a second, is how you study this. Obviously, you're given access to the online learning platform, and you've got your residential weekends. But what you have to do is you take those masterclasses and you have to write up 6 of them. Now, what that means is you've got 1,000 words to actually say, what were the key principles from the masterclass and how might you use them within your organization? So they're very practically focused. These are not long assignments like you do on the diploma. They're 1,000-word summaries. So 6 of those are then added together, and you do those as the program goes on. And then at the end of the day, there is a formal, I'll come back to that in a second. How you then are assessed on this particular program, which is unique, is a 3-hour oral interview. So you then go in with 1 or 2 people who are specialists in the area. They will talk to you. The first hour is normally talking about you and your CV and things you've done. Because this program carries with it 8 TM credits. And what that means is that's broadly half of a master's degree. And what the University of Manchester have done here, they say it's worth 80 credits, and therefore it's what is called APL, Approved Prior Learning. And what we're doing is we're assessing you as individuals. We're looking at all of your background, all the things that you can do. So the first hour of the interview, we're saying to you, tell us what you do. You know, have you ever done this? Demonstrate to us your leadership skills. Give us any case studies that you've dealt with within your job role. So we're talking to you about yourself, and then after that, the extra 2 hours, we map you across against something called the National Occupational Standards of Competency in either compliance, AML, financial crime, one of those broad areas. And then we talk to you about the technical skills in those areas. But you will know those because you'll have chosen them in advance. You choose 10 specialist areas, and then we talk to you about them. So it's a very unusual way of assessing people, but it's the best way of all, because I will know so much more about somebody after 3 hours in an oral interview than if you'd done me 10 3-hour written papers. It's a fantastic way of assessing people's capabilities. And it works extremely well. And people really enjoy it. People love talking about themselves. So you sit there for 3 hours and you listen to them, and it's a really good way of assessing how people are, whether they're competent or not. This is a competent, not competent. You're not graded at all on this. You're either competent or you're not yet competent in all of these areas. But that's what universities do at the highest level. If you do a doctorate, of course you'll do your thesis and submit it, but you then have an oral interview, a viva voce, is the way that it's assessed. And that's the best way. And if you're a senior practitioner who've been working in a job, how better than to be assessed about what you know than in the context of what you're doing within your own environment. So it's a really novel and interesting and exciting way of testing people. Okay, so the people who apply, usually senior to middle level, been working at least 10 years, or people who've done the diploma and have had 3 years experience. So just working back there, why would you want to do it? As I say, first of all, it's part of the educational infrastructure. The reality there that you've done a professional postgraduate diploma, level 7 qualification, can lead into a master's degree if you want it. The thing is, I think the key indicator for me is the opportunities. It's a recognition of the level of your standing. It's a real demonstrator to the regulator. And one or two of the guys earlier on have been talking about here in the UK, you know, this senior persons regime. You are now going to have to demonstrate to the regulators that you're competent in your job role. So if you're a compliance officer, an MLRO, a director of the company, you're going to have to demonstrate competence. How are you going to do that? Now, one of the best ways is through qualifications as well as experience. And so that's a critical component in all of this about why you would want to do it. It's a clear demonstration of competence at the highest level, and that's what the regulators want to see going forward. As well as that, it gives you an additional title. So as well as getting the professional postgraduate diploma, you will become a fellow automatically of the ICA, which is FICA, and you can use the term certified professional there, as we've indicated. So lots of reasons why you would want to do it. Now, as I say, those of you that, we have a number of people now who've done that program and have gone on to various postgraduate diplomas, postgraduate qualifications such as the MSc. Classic one there, University of Law. You can do 3 online modules to top up your professional postgraduate diploma to an MSc. And I think that's one way. Or you can go and do a pure research degree. Most master's degrees that are in this area will give you advanced standing based upon having done a professional postgraduate diploma. So I don't want to spend too much time because I know many of you are in different areas and different levels. Okay, what I'm going to do now then is, sorry, Becca, yeah?
Could I just mention, Bill, just very briefly, if I may, it's probably
You've got
just
your thing on there.
I think I've got my mic on, sorry. Just also want to briefly mention, just to add to that in January, we'll be launching the new specific postgraduate diploma in financial crime compliance as well, which is, a more financial crime focused program. As Jonathan, I'm sure, will be able to talk to you about, the Governance, Risk and Compliance Diploma, a postgraduate diploma, has been running to extremely great feedback over the last couple of years, and we believe that now the time is right to also have effectively a financial crime version of the program as well. So again, I think there's a slide up there, thank you, Bill, with all that material. So I just thought I'd mention that specifically as well, and there's obviously information on the ICA website about all of that too. Thanks, Bill.
Jonathan, do you want any comments you'd like to make about it?
Yeah, this isn't on. Just very briefly as well on the postgrad, two things. One, they are residential in Oxford. It's a wonderful weekend where you enjoy yourselves, the educational environment as well, and the networking opportunities are fantastic. We restrict the weekends to 25 delegates. We had to put on an extra weekend in Oxford at short notice last year because it's proving so popular. And they really are a wonderful opportunity to sort of talk about the challenges facing the industry at a senior level. But just to add to that, I know a lot of you here are thinking, well, you know, maybe in 5 years' time, that's the qualification for me. Also bear this in mind when you go back to your firms and you talk to your senior managers, you might think, well, I haven't got time to do a qualification. I haven't got time to do this. I'm too busy running the business. Maybe you want to point them in the direction of the postgrad. Yes, they might have to give up a couple of weekends and a little bit of work around preparing for the assessment interview, but actually it might well help you in your roles an awful lot if you can persuade some of your directors to do the postgrad to get that real understanding of regulatory risk across governance, risk and compliance, and then next year in financial crime as well. Okay.
Okay, so just before we finish, are there any generic questions, you know, on anything that you've heard, not just on this, on any of the areas that you'd like to discuss? We're then going to break, as I say, and then all the individual people will be there, the academics, the ICA people, and they'll answer any other queries, or we'll take individual questions. But if you've got a question that might be applicable for many people here, has anybody got anything at this point, yeah?
I think you just mentioned that there are 25 people involved in this. In the regular diploma, about how many people are in the class?
Same. We normally put a cap on it around about 25. We don't allow big groups, if that's right, because they are workshops. They're essentially, you've got to have that sort of size in order to get interaction.
Will any of these courses cover the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency or the regulations around that?
That would be within...
The answer is yes, both the AML diploma. Sorry, I've lost the questioner there, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So, yeah, the answer is very much so. And in fact, the gentleman here, I know Andy Clark here, who's done a lot of work in this area, and my colleague Lee Byrne as well, very expert on this subject, the hot and cold wallets of Bitcoin and the risks of, and the challenges of regulating something where there isn't a central bank behind it. And of course, it's not just Bitcoin, there are a range of other rapidly emerging virtual currencies and new internet payment methods. So absolutely core to the AML and FCP, we do look at the emerging technologies, obviously including Bitcoin. And there's a lot of fascinating dilemmas, I guess, for regulators and firms as it increasingly becomes mainstream. It is a very, very interesting area.
Okay, that seems to be it. Well, can I thank you so much for listening to us, for been quite a long session, but hopefully you've had a wide range of people here. They'll all be staying around to talk to you if that's what you'd like to do. And if you are interested in taking any of the courses, then just go onto the website and the application form's there. But you've got most of the information that you need here now. So thank you very much indeed.